Hello, beautiful divine seeker. Do you have a dog or a cat or another animal that you really love? And have you ever wondered if your pet has a soul and if your pet reincarnates just like we humans do? And have you ever even wondered if animals can reincarnate into humans at some point, or even if we humans reincarnate again to become worms? Well, I'm going to answer that question in detail in this video. You are divine. Welcome everybody, those who are new, welcome. Thank you for spending time with me. I'm Natasha, Cosmic Empress, here to have a cosmic experience with you. Okay, so before we get started, why don't you subscribe right now and hit the little bell so you'll be notified every time a video comes out to get the best spiritual advice. Okay, so I want to dive into this subject deeply because I want to discuss with you the concept of the evolution of the soul, of animal and human reincarnation, and how this whole subject can make sense to us. And if you stay tuned till the end, I'm going to reveal some really interesting statistics about souls on this planet, information that I actually got from the Akashic Records. A lot of this information, or the frame of reference, comes from the channelings of Ra from the book of the Law of One, which is my favorite channeled book or my favorite channeled work. And I have also gone into the Akashic Records and really checked the authenticity of this, and it always comes up as yes, authentic and true. Okay, so to really understand the concept of animal reincarnation and human reincarnation, I want to quickly summarize how reincarnation is started and how the different densities work. So when a planet actually is formed physically, when it becomes organized and dense, when matter comes together, when minerals and water is formed, that is called the first density. That's the first stage of evolution of a planet and of life. And at this stage, the planet does form a consciousness. Okay, I believe planets have consciousnesses. So Mother Gaia, when we talk about Mother Gaia, it's a conscious planet, a conscious being at a different level than we are, of course. But that is basically how it works. So then when matter starts to bring forth life, that actually moves, that procreates in forms of animals and plants, that's the second density. At some point, this consciousness strives towards the light, strives towards self-knowing and self-realization. Then life moves into the third density, and that is the consciousness of self-realization. That is us. We are right now living in the third density. Human beings with our consciousness, our level of consciousness, are in the third density. So the interesting thing is that the soul essence of an animal, when it does many incarnational cycles, going into the higher planes of the second density. For example, in the beginnings of the second density, only lower life forms existed, like amoebas or worms or lower animal life, and this slowly developed. These same souls incarnated into a different animal form. So it could be that the worm incarnated into a snail, incarnated into an ant, incarnated into a small mammal, kind of stepping up the ladder of incarnation as the consciousness increased. So what actually happened, this is what the book of Ra states, and I looked in the Akashic Records and I find this to be true, is at some point in our history, less than 1 million years ago, human consciousness jumped from the second to the third density. That means the human life forms that were not us like this, not the Homo sapiens sapiens, the a little less developed forms of people, gained such a level of consciousness that it was possible to then jump into the third density, to really incarnate as who we are with the consciousness that we have. So that's very interesting, and that's how a lot of human beings on this planet evolved. So evolution is real, and of course there are other influences. If you've studied some of these channelings, There's been outside help where our consciousness was helped along a little bit to jump a little bit faster, okay? But that's basically how it works. So, coming back to the question, if animals can incarnate as humans, generally, it doesn't happen that, an animal dies, the soul goes up to its soul's home, comes back and reincarnates as a human, and the next time around reincarnates as a cat again. That's not possible. There is only one time that the jump can happen from a very higher second density consciousness, like of a cat or dog or very highly conscious animal, that after a long time of reincarnation, of being very, very aware, then this animal soul does have the opportunity to make that bridge the gap in consciousness to the third density and reincarnate as a human being. It happens only once, and it happens after hundreds of thousands of lifetimes of reincarnation and of gaining consciousness. Okay, so the answer to the question in the beginning is yes. Animals do have souls, and animals can reincarnate into human form at one point in their whole development, and that doesn't happen too often. And we as humans cannot jump down in consciousness when we reincarnate again. So reincarnate as a worm. We cannot reincarnate again as a worm. It doesn't happen that way. We are moving from the third into the fourth density or the fifth dimension. As we speak, we are making that transition. The planet is making that transition. So hopefully in our next incarnation, or maybe the one after that, we will incarnate into a higher density, into a fourth density, which is going to be totally different. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but that's the big question, isn't it? The ascension process, we are ascending densities or dimensions. It's just different ways of talking about it. And hopefully, if we incarnate in our next life, boom, then hopefully we'll be in the fourth density where our bodies are going to be different. They're going to be not as dense. We are going to be not so stuck with our karma. We are going to be in a place of more direct connection to the divine, and everything hopefully will be different and more harmonious with love and light and all that good stuff. Okay, so coming back to the animals then and to the densities, we are actually helping our animal friends by having them be our pets and by projecting our consciousness on them. We are helping them raise their vibration and raise their density, so that next time around they may be able to incarnate as humans. So after I was contemplating this and got all this download and this information and this message, I looked at my cat Leo and I said, I'm happy now, maybe next time around, you'll come back as a human and you can be my friend. So I was really, really happy. And somehow I see Leo, my cat, in a different way now. I look at him and I think, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you, make that jump. And I actually went into the Akashic Records and I dowsed for it. I dowsed for everything. I asked everything, and I asked if Leo is able to make that jump next time round. The answer was no, but in 2 lifetimes from now, yes. If he is promoted by someone like me in his consciousness. Okay, so what do you think about that theory? Like, do you have a really close connection to an animal? Can you see that happening? Is it even desirable for the animals to become humans? We can doubt that. But I think yes, because all life forms, all souls in general want to expand and raise their consciousness, raise their vibration and grow. That's just the nature, the law of the universe. Things want to grow and expand. So that is really, really interesting. So some statistics, and again, bear with me. This is according to my knowledge and my belief. And before I talk about these things publicly on YouTube, believe me, I researched them very, very well. I really try to do it right and get correct information before I just spew out any old, silly theory. So if you have not looked at the Law of One, the Channelings of Ra, I'm going to leave a link below. I really strongly advise you to read through that. To me, it's true, it rings true, and when I accessed the Akashic Records of Gaia, Mother Earth, I like to do that as a conscious being, I actually dowsed for the correctness of those channelings, like I said before, and they came up as true. So what I got was, I wrote it down here. I asked that today's population of humans, of us here, how many of us have made that jump from animals to humans? But that is in the last 500,000 years, more or less. How many of us that are alive today have made that jump from second to third density? And I don't mean the evolution of mankind, through different Homo erectus and all those different types of human beings to suddenly making that jump. Most of us are those humans. Most of us who are not starseeds, those who are actually earthling souls, have made that evolution, have gone through that evolution. But I asked how many humans today that are incarnated made the jump from animal consciousness, like from the animals of the earth, not Homo sapiens of the earth, from the animals. How many have made that jump from the second to the third density? And I got 2%. So 2% of us were little cats and dogs, or tigers, or birds, or animals of high consciousness before we incarnated for the first time in our human form. That's interesting, right? And I also got another very interesting statistic, and that is 45% of us humans, 45% of us that are incarnated today on this planet made the jump from Homo erectus all the way through the different types of humans to Homo sapiens sapiens. Okay, so 45% of us went through the evolution and the jump in consciousness from second to third density, where we incarnated one day and we had our human consciousness. 45% of us, and the other 2% of us, earthlings, made that jump since then from the animal form to the human form, okay, when we incarnated again. So the question is, 45% plus 2% is only 47%. So who are the rest? Who are the remaining 53% of us humans walking this earth? What are we? Who are we? And that is for another video. So keep watching my videos and I'll slowly reveal what I personally have found out. And I know this all sounds really fantastical and really crazy, but I do my research well and I try to get really accurate, concise information with a really solid frame of reference that makes sense and that comes from a place of truth in the Akashic Records. Okay, so let me know what you think. Do you think it's crazy? Do you think it's possible? What do you think you are? Do you think you're an animal soul, the 2%? Or do you think you are an earthling soul, the other 45%? Or do you think you are other, which I'll talk about next time? Who are you? I know who I am, and I'll let you know next time too. Okay. Thank you so much. Look in the description box because I am creating really amazing free resources for you to help you connect with your spirit guides, to help you start channeling yourself from the Akashic Records, because I really want to help and assist you in stepping into your divinity. So for some really amazing free resources, take a look in the description box. Okay, so thank you for spending time with me, and I'll see you next time. Natasha, Cosmic Empress.